Okay, so today we are joined by Emma Taylor from Migration Yorkshire. Hello, Emma.
Hi, Mary. Lovely to be here.
Thanks very much for joining us. Can you tell us what your role is at Migration Yorkshire?
Yes, certainly. So I am the ESOL regional lead for Migration Yorkshire, which basically means that I work with the 15 different local authorities in Yorkshire and the Humber, and support them and their different ESOL providers with all things ESOL.
Fantastic, thank you. So today we're making a little video about um, OET and IELTS. So I guess I'm going to ask you, first of all, to tell us what OET and IELTS are.
Okay, sure, Mary. So both the OET and the IELTS are widely recognised English tests. So the IELTS, which is the International English Language Testing System, is owned by the British Council and is a kind of general academic English test. The OET is the Occupational English Test, and it's owned by Cambridge. And it's more specific. It is an English language test that's specifically for healthcare professionals. So both of them are English language proficiency tests. Both of them are widely recognised, and they're both accepted by the General Medical Council and other UK healthcare regulatory bodies. They're both accepted for Tier 4 visas, and they are both tests that you have to pay for. And I mean, the price kind of goes up and down a little bit, but I think at the moment the OET is about £320 and the IELTS is about £220.
Okay, thank you. So if I was, for example, if I was a nurse living in Syria and I wanted to, if I was a nurse who had been living in Syria and I wanted to, in the UK, register as a nurse, what kind of things would you advise me to do?
Well, I think it's always worth doing a little bit of research to find out what organisations around you might be offering any preparatory courses. Because both of these tests, you really need to know about the test and you need to prepare for the test. And sometimes we say it's not just a test of your English language skills, but it's testing your test knowledge, knowing what to do, knowing how to answer. So if you have locally to you an organisation that might be able to fund you or offer you a preparatory test in one or the other, then it might be wise to do that one. If not, do some research, find out about both of the different tests, have a look. There's loads of resources available online, and think really carefully about what you want it for. So if you are definitely only going into the healthcare profession, you might think, okay, the OET is just about healthcare. Everything that I'm going to learn is vocabulary, very useful vocabulary that would be very relevant for the job that I want to go into. And I would be practicing things that I would do in that job. So you might think that's the one for me. Um, However, if you might be keeping your options open a little bit more, you might want to go into some kind of academic course of study. You might have a route into another job. Then you might think, maybe IELTS is the one for me. Now, we're not here to tell you which test you should do. There's not one test better than the other, but they are very different. So I always recommend people really find out about the test. There's loads of online resources. Read up about it and think which of these are going to suit me better.
Yeah, and of course, we have to say that people in Yorkshire and the Humber can find OET and IELTS preparation classes by going to the Learning English in Yorkshire and Humber
Mhm.
website and searching for them on there, can't they?
They absolutely can, and they can also have a look for resources. So both OET and IELTS have official websites. OET's got a preparation portal, which has got preparation materials, sample answers, sample tests, and you can have a look. You can download sample tests. IELTS is the same. On the British Council website, you can find like a special prepare for your test section where you can look at past papers. And it's really important to understand how the scoring system works for those tests, and what the examiners are looking for when they mark your test. So what you can also do is you can look at the assessment criteria, or what they call band descriptors. Those are public and they're available for you to look at. So when you're preparing for these tests, you need to be a little bit smart, thinking about how can I get the best possible score, because you might be paying quite a lot of money for these, and you'll certainly be investing a lot of time. So not just a test of your English, it's a test of your test knowledge.
That's right. And also, just to say, if you go to OET.com, there are some very short introduction courses for nurses, doctors, and other healthcare professionals, which are free. So you can kind of get an idea of what the preparation course might be like, can't
Yeah,
you?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Okay. Right. I guess the other thing to talk about really is that each of the IELTS and the OET have a reading, writing, speaking, and listening element to them, don't they? And you have to score separately on each of those, and each of the healthcare professionals, healthcare profession registration bodies asks for a different level for each of those four elements, doesn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely does. So you need to know what you need to get, and what you're expected to get. And yes, you're absolutely right. So there's different sections with different ways of being marked. And yeah, the IELTS has got those four different: reading, writing, speaking, listening. And you need to be familiar with how that works. And you need to understand that you can lose a lot of marks, for example, on the papers in the way you record your answers. If you don't use capital letters, you can lose points. So it's just finding out things like that. So with the OET as well, I think as I mentioned earlier, it's all healthcare related. So all the language that's being used is profession specific language, and the tests and the tasks that you will be asked to do will involve following clinical scenarios, and it will be using sort of true to life medical texts, medical talks, and writing like authentic, say, healthcare letters and referrals and so on. So it's really aiming to test you in what you would actually be doing in your healthcare job.
Okay. Well, that's really useful. Thanks very much, Emma. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.